Once you've created your three-dimensional design and you've made the decision that you want to download a file type that is able to be 3D printed, you have an excellent option within Tinkercad to do so. On the right-hand screen, let's say I'm done building this model and I have a student that wants to print out their model and they've done their final revisions and they have it approved for 3D printing by me, or they want to take it to a place that has a 3D printer. They can download this to a zip drive or email it to somebody, zip it and email it. All of these are options in Tinkercad. They can even share it directly if the other individual has a Tinkercad account. And I'll talk just a little bit about this share function before I show you the exporting function. If I were going to share this with somebody and have a partner, I could have a partner on this design with me at this time making changes to the same model. So I could have two of us in here working on the same house, one working on one bedroom, you can imagine, and the other one working on another within the same design. Which creates this whole idea of collaboration and 3D design at the same time, which is what happens in the engineering world. You can imagine designing a car or an automobile where somebody's working on the chassis and another individual is working on the interior, another individual is working on the engine space. And so students can learn how to collaborate in a very complex environment in a very user-friendly way, which is what I like about this share function. If students choose to share and work together, that's also why the age limit of 13 is placed on the Tinkercad accounts without parental approval, but with parents' approval, they can of course use it. So when we look here, if I'm ready to 3D print this and I want to get that STL file and download it, and then import it into a 3D printing software program, the way I do that is I go to this export function when I'm inside of the design itself. So you have to open up the design first from the home menu. So if you were on your home menu, let's just pop back there real quick, take you from the home landing page to getting a 3D file. On the home page, you're going to see all of your designs. Usually it has your last design that you were working on last up first. I'm going to just click on Tinker This and it's going to take me into my work plane. Once I'm in my work plane, I can then go over to the upper right hand menu and choose that export option. As soon as it's done loading, I'm going to choose export, and I can export this in an OBJ file or an STL file. If I were going to import this into a laser cutter, which is like a plasma cutter in metal, so if you've ever seen those cool lettering designs where people have, let's say, their last name on a big sheet of metal painted or oxidized in a certain way, the way they get that cutout is from a two-dimensional design, which is an SVG file. And so a lot of engineers will use the plasma cutters to cut out a template and then use that for future designs. But Tinkercad is phenomenal because it's created by AutoCAD, and you have these three different file types which are universal in the engineering and three-dimensional and two-dimensional world, whether you're talking about a 3D printer, a plasma cutter, or a CNC lathe machine that is going to cut it out of a solid metal object. So it says you can select everything in the design or shapes you need to select something first. So I'm going to tell it to take everything because I want that whole design. The computer program knows that I have multiple different shapes in there, so it's asking me, do you want the whole design or do you just want part of it? I want the whole thing. And I'm going to choose an STL file because that is the file type that works with my particular 3D printer. Pretty universal. Some take the OBJ, but if you have a 3D printer, you know your file type. So I'm going to choose STL, and it's simple as that. It has just downloaded that file into my folder, and I'm using a Chromebook, if you have not noticed, which is the simplest platform out there for computing. Basically a web browser is what I'm using to run this whole experience off of. And I have Chromebooks in my classroom, and it's phenomenal that I can use such a simple and inexpensive device to do such a complicated process and actually download them for 3D printing. I could choose to email this file and then open it up on the computer that the 3D printer's on and go ahead and print that out. And what that looks like depends on your own 3D printer and 3D printing software. So this is the file that's zipped in a folder, and I could just simply attach that to an email or download that on a zip drive, or not a zip drive, a USB drive, and plug that into a 3D printer and print that design out, and I would get this exact model, and it would have all of the holes for the houses and everything. So very engaging for students to actually be able to draw something and then indeed print that something or that design out in their own 3D printer in their own classroom. And the nice thing about this is this can be sort of a prototype experience where students can have even competitions in classrooms. Printing out every single design sometimes is not a possibility. So what I often do is I put kids in groups, and if I have 8 groups, sometimes I can't print out all 8 designs. So we have a competition, and we vote on whose design is the best. And then the best 1, 2, or 3 designs I will take the time to print out. If it's a smaller project, sometimes I can bring them all in as well. There's one other feature here. It's called import. And the fun thing about import is there's a whole community online of different designs that you can actually not steal but use because people have put them on a sharing platform. One of those is called thingiverse.com. Even within Tinkercad, you can share in the Tinkercad community, which often does utilize Thingiverse. And in Thingiverse, you can download an object, bring it into Tinkercad, and then you can change it, which is really cool. You can personalize it. You can put your name on a design that somebody else made. Some designs take hours or days to create, and sometimes you can borrow those and just manipulate them and change them to your own specifications, and then you have this very personalized and unique design that's been modified and specified to exactly what you need. And it's really a time saver to be able to not just utilize other people's work, but also share your own work in that community to help sort of have a rubber band effect where we can shoot past, or a slingshot effect to shoot past where we are in our own 3D design limitations and really make complex, unique, and innovative structures. So that's just a very not simple, but a straightforward way to just export the file for 3D printing. It'll be on your device, and it should be in your downloads, and then you can either email that or save it in a zip drive and take it to your 3D printer and print out your 3D design.